As a very wise man told me pre-show, football is back and damn, is she beautiful. Damon, are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football? Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. And I gave you a little bit extra on that one because, ladies and gentlemen, we are 30 minutes to the Arizona Wildcats kickoff of the first game of the season. I am Damon Fairall. I gave you a nice little sing off the top for you. That's my guy, Kevin Thomas. And Kevin, it is truly here. College football, I missed us.
It's finally back, and it's time to own the night. You know what I mean? We got a bunch of night games coming up this year for Arizona Wildcat fans, so I hope you enjoyed the entirety of your Saturday, but your Saturday night is going to be consumed by Arizona Wildcats ball, and I hope you all understand that. Damon, I'm really excited to break down this Hawaii matchup, get into our score predictions, best bets. We got a litany of things to get into today, Damon, but yes, first and foremost, thankful that football is back, and it's in full.
Yeah, it really is. And we had some great games earlier this morning. Of course, Ohio State takes down the number one team in the country in week one. Arch Manning, not the game to write home about for him. Right now, you got Clemson and LSU on. I believe Clemson has a touchdown lead on the LSU Tigers in another top 10 matchup. Some really high-level college football games going on. And I not to say that this game will be no different, because I think that, and we're going to get into this, Kevin, like the Arizona Wildcats really need to, I think, kind of have a style points showing tonight for their fans in particular that have been very discouraged by the Brent Brennan era thus far. But, Hawaii isn't any slouch either. Like that isn't a team you have to take seriously. They just beat a power conference opponent in Stanford, albeit a very bad one. But, you got to take the Rainbow Warriors seriously, coming down to Tucson.
We talked about it on a recent live show, Damon. You have to take the Rainbow Warriors seriously because if you're Arizona, you cannot afford to take any opponent as less than give them any less than your best. You know what I mean? You don't have that luxury after the disappointment that was last season. You have to come out and make a statement in every game and prove that you have made those improvements that you've told us about in the offseason. And, we're going to get to my keys a little bit later, but part of that is just simply making a statement with this game. You have a big opportunity at home, a lot of pent-up emotions from the fans, from the players, from the coaches, from the new coaches on the staff that want to make a name for themselves, namely Seth Doege and Danny Gonzales looking to reprove himself as a defensive coordinator. Not like he has to prove himself amongst those that in the know, but a lot of fans, after last season, you get a promotion. There's just a lot of chips on a lot of shoulders, and I'm ready to see it out on the field. Damon, should we get into looking at Hawaii at a glance here before we talk a little bit more about the Arizona Wildcats?
Yeah, we should here in a second. But first off, I just want to say thank you to everybody that is here off the top. You guys are the real MVPs here in the situation. We're going to have some more people that tag along late, kind of just prior to kickoff. But the people that are in here right now, you guys are the true MVPs here. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. We, of course, have, Nick, June, and Tom always holding things down. Sean making an appearance on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Appreciate you, Sean. Katie, another D-backs fan. Appreciate everybody for being here. Hop in the chat. Get active with us. Start throwing some takes out, some hot takes. Kevin and I love it. We love to have the chat kind of drive our conversation. So, excited for this season and excited to do it together with everybody in here. But Kevin, without further ado, why don't we get into this Hawaii team and just kind of the opponent that Arizona is going to be playing against.
Yeah, first of all, could not have said it better myself. Thank you to all in the chat. And as we look at this Hawaii team, I feel like the best place to start is I saw this statistic when I was doing some previews, and I had to go do a little bit of math for the second half of this. But I put this tweet out earlier. Hawaii head coach Timmy Chang, since taking over at Hawaii, is 2-15 on the road. And the average margin of defeat in those games is just about 23.5 points. And as we look at the Rainbow Warriors here at a glance, you can see that last game against Stanford was fine. It was a decent performance. You had a gutsy effort from Micah Alejado. But it was just enough to get past Stanford. But that performance would not be enough to get past the Arizona Wildcats as we see them instituted this season. As you see, 210 passing yards, less than 100 rushing yards, 3 for 10 on third down conversions, 8 penalties for almost 100 yards, 70 yards there in penalty yardage, and then 1 turnover as well for Hawaii. So when you're looking at Hawaii's last performance against Stanford, we spoke to Christian Shimabuku about this as well. Coming in, this is a super uphill battle for Hawaii, and they know it. Arizona knows it. Everybody knows it. But how can Hawaii give Arizona a challenge? And it's all on the shoulders of Micah Alejado, who is playing with a bum ankle because of the high ankle sprain that he sustained in that game against Stanford. So it's going to take a huge effort out of this Hawaii team. Damon, when you look at Hawaii, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, those numbers, a lot of those numbers that you just flashed on the screen there, Kevin, are pedestrian. 210 passing yards, 96 rushing yards. Those are not numbers that, you look back on a Sunday, the day after a game and say, I'm really pleased with our passing or our rushing attack in those games. As you mentioned, that's just not going to be good enough, I think, to beat the Arizona Wildcats. They're going to have to play a better football game than they did against Stanford last week with an injured quarterback, a hobbled quarterback who's clearly not at 100%. Barely practiced all week, was really just kind of out there going through the motions, doing more walkthrough stuff, throwing on air. Like Michael Alejado was not a full participant in these Hawaii practices, and he's going to have to give you more than what he gave you last week, despite a pretty heroic performance against Stanford, especially with that late score. But that penalty number is pretty bad in particular, Kevin. 8 penalties for 70 yards. That's coaching. You mentioned that road stats for Timmy Chang, road games, another aspect of coaching in particular, like winning and losing on the margins there. As we talked about all week, Brent Brennan and his staff have to go in there and prove to Hawaii and prove to the entire rest of the country that we are a level above Mountain West coaches, because that's why Brent Brennan got this opportunity at Arizona. That's why Brent Brennan was brought into this program. And like after what he did at San Jose State and how he kind of revitalized that program, like you can't, if you're Brent Brennan, go into this game and it all of a sudden it's close when Arizona and its fans know that the talent level is not neck and neck. Arizona has more talent. So if it's a close game, to me, that tells me that Arizona is getting out coached, and that would be very concerning in week 1 of this season, especially when essentially you've been preaching all offseason, we're going to turn the leaf. We're going to turn the corner. This is not the same team and not the same coaching staff in terms of mentality as before.
Yeah, and you're talking about making a statement there, Damon, and how are they going to do that? I think we should look at the keys to this one that I put together for this Hawaii matchup. Key number 1, Damon's spoken about it. I've spoken about it. We had Spears on. He brought it up. You have to establish the run game early in this one, and you cannot have a game where Noah Fifita is asked to do the lion's share of the production in this game. Absolutely not. This has to be a showcase in a way for your new Ishmael Mahdi, toy that Seth Doege can play with, for the Quincy Craigs, the Wesley Yarboroughs, the Kedrick Risanos. All of that, you have to be on point with that in this game. Make Hawaii come into the box, let Noah Fifita take advantage over the top. The run game will only help our beloved Noah Fifita have success in this game and get 2025 on the right track. Key number 2, you have to pressure Micah Alejado. If you make him think about using his hobbled ankles, which is a great tool for him, the getting out of the pocket is a great tool for Micah Alejado. But if he cannot do that, you're going to put him in a box, and that's going to be huge for Arizona. I want that front 7 to really make it hard on Alejado in this game, and I think Arizona will be able to shut down Hawaii if they can do that. Key number 3, and this is less of a way to victory and more of a mentality thing. I want to see Arizona make a statement in this game. Win by 3+ touchdowns. That should not be a I shouldn't say difficult, but it should not be a
attainable.
Yes, thank you. Unattainable task for Brent Brennan's squad. This should be, like you said, a gorge in talent that is evident when they hit the field. In Arizona, the chips I mentioned on their shoulder, let's see it. The improvements that they've mentioned and changed all offseason, let's see it. Let's see that turn into success. Go out there, make a statement that Brent Brennan football is not the football that you saw in 2024, that Brent Brennan football can result in real victories. So those are my 3 keys to this game. You got to establish the run game, pressure Micah Alejado, make it really hard on him to get any sort of rhythm going, and, of course, make a loud statement that 2025 is going to be different than 2024.
I love those keys, Kevin, and I think that I full-heartedly agree with all of them. Establishing a ground game is something that we've talked about all offseason with this team, where it's like you can't just go out there and have the opposing team know Noah Fifita is going to try to throw the football. And that's what 2024 was essentially the entire season. There's a reason Noah Fifita threw 100 more passing attempts last year, and it's because Arizona was down in games. They had an ineffective run game, and they're just, because of that, there was no reason for the Wildcats to really run the football all that much in games because they had to pass. This year, that can't be the case. This year, they need to find more balance on their offense in order to make their passing game more efficient. And that run game against an opponent that you have a perceived line of scrimmage advantage against needs to be a W. I also think that the aspect of pressuring Micah Alejado, especially if he's going to be on a bum ankle?
Yeah, high ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain, so his mobility is limited. As we talked about with Christian Shimabuku, he is a quarterback that is, someone that can tuck it and run when he has to, but it's not necessarily his game. This is going to affect his mobility a lot, though, and Arizona needs to get its pass rushers, and its big players on his body all night long. Essentially, like you need to wear him out and to tire him out and make sure that this is a level of game that he's just not prepared for. And then I agree with you. Give your fans something to write home about. Give us a big, large margin of victory type of game, and let's fall asleep happy. Let's move on to Weber State next week before we actually start playing some big time football games. But I'll throw one more at you, Kevin, and I think this is another key to the game. We talked a lot about Hawaii's receivers. We've talked a lot about all offseason Arizona's defensive backs and especially the safeties in particular, and Traden Stukes at the nickel corner spot, where it looks like Gavin Hunter is taking a lot of those starting reps here in the pregame warmups in that kind of nickel corner role. But he's a Hawaii native, so really cool angle there. Maybe he gets to make a play against, I'm sure, a lot of players he's grown up with and around and people that he knows. But I think Arizona has to win those one-on-one matchups, wide receiver versus DB, because they're going to blitz. They're going to try to put that pressure on Micah Alejado, like you mentioned, and Danny Gonzales is going to draw some things up. But with that, and kind of like coinciding with that, you're going to have some one-on-one matchups downfield with your DBs and your wide receivers. And if you could stop a guy like Pefele Ashlock, this would be. I think a game that is going to be an absolute blowout, because if Hawaii's not scoring through their wide receivers, how are they going to score? Because they don't have any ground game.
Yeah, and to speak to the importance of having an established ground game against Hawaii, Stanford ran the ball 42 times and got stuffed on 7 of those carries. That is a stuff rate of roughly 15%. The national average is 30, right? So Stanford was not they were not being stopped very consistently when they went to run the ball. I think that fares very well for Arizona's offensive line and running back room, which should be of a much more superior level to a bottom feeder ACC team like Stanford, right? So when I look at this matchup, I see the run game. I see it on both sides as areas where Arizona can dominate the ball there. And like you said, the shutting down of the weapons that Micah Alejado has, in addition to pressuring him, is only going to give him more decisions to make on each play, only going to make him think about his ankle more, and it's only going to make it easier for Arizona's defense to get out of here with a dominant victory. So, those are the keys to victory, Damon. Unless you had anything more on that, we could move into potentially our best bets for today.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do it, and I'll kind of pass you the baton and let you start things off. Kevin, what are you feeling from a gambling standpoint How can we make some money on the Arizona Wildcats?
Yeah, let's talk best bets, folks. You see mine here on the right. I'm just going to keep it really, really simple. Arizona spread, minus 15.5. I feel so confident in the Arizona Wildcats. I would have played this all the way up to minus 19. That is a fact. I think that the minus 110 number, it's fine. If you're betting the spread here, I'm trying to get a winner. You know, it's been an up and down start to college football for me in the gambling category. So let's just get a winner. Arizona, it was one of my keys to win by 3+ touchdowns. So I had better take them to cover, right? So, yes, that is mine. Keep it simple. Take Arizona spread, in my opinion. Damon, what you got for us?
Yeah, I went with a more of a parlay option here. I'm going with an under of 30.5 points in the first half. I think in week one, a lot of the time, I know Hawaii is not in week one, but as we've discussed, ad nauseum, they have a injured quarterback who's playing up a level here. I don't expect their offense to really light it up. I think Arizona might need a little bit of time to get their feet wet. Combine that with an Arizona first half money line and get that number up to plus 125 on that parlay. Combine those two and let's make some money. Kevin, I did want to say, though, before we moved on, there is a Bet365 super boost that is going on right now in regards to the Arizona Wildcats. Guys, if you haven't signed up through Bet365 yet, our official betting partner here at PHNX Sports, use our promo code of PHNX365 when you sign up and kind of get those benefits of that first bet match or the offer where you get the bonus bets when you deposit and bet a certain amount of money. But they have a first quarter money line bet on it, the Arizona Wildcats, super boosted from minus 220 to plus 100, Kevin. And that's looking pretty juicy to me. That is a very tantalizing bet there from our friends at Bet365. All the Wildcats have to do is win that first quarter, and we're walking away with some extra cash in our pocket.
I love it. I love it, Damon. I did have, like I said, I had to keep it simple because I've been burned by too many parlays recently in my life to want to ever go back to a parlay. Spoiler alert, I have a Mercury parlay later. Maybe we can talk about that in a post-game show at some point. But, that's my best bet. Keep it simple. I think Arizona should cover this spread, hopefully with some ease, and I shouldn't have to sweat this one. Damon, I like your bet as well. And if you're a Super Boost kind of cat, Bet365, we got some Super Boost for you. So those are the best bets as well, Damon. What should we get into next?
I am a Super Boost cat, Kevin. Indeed. That is the definition of that was actually my nickname in high school, Super Boost Cat. Looks like my mom might be potentially doing some butt dialing on the chat here. So
I think she is trying to help demystify with the timing of the game. Yeah.
Those were just a lot of random letters, put together there. But Kevin, I wanted to bring a discussion to the table for you, and you kind of mentioned it in terms of one of your keys of like, let's put on a show. I had a tweet earlier in the day where I was, it just popped in my head. How many points do the Wildcats need to win by versus Hawaii to give you confidence and inspire some confidence in you for the rest of the season? Because, let's be honest, I don't think a 7-14 point win is cutting it for this fan base in terms of like, man, Brent Brennan's really showing us year 2 is going to be different than year 1. And so to me, I just wanted to like pose the question to you, like, what is it, that 21 number? Is it 3 touchdowns for you?
I think so. I think 3 whole touchdowns. Pardon me. And I'll feel really good about Arizona in this one. Anything less than that, I feel like kind of Spears alluded to on yesterday's show, we might have some serious concerns. But I think that Arizona should be able to handle that for us tonight, Damon. What is your number? Because mine is 21 or better. What is your number?
So, I think that we take everything in a vacuum. It's not like not all results are exactly the same. If Arizona is winning this game handily the entire game, say they're up 21 late, they're kind of playing, a little bit of coverage where they're allowing the underneath stuff because Hawaii's just ticking time off the clock, and they score a consolation touchdown to make it 14. I'm not going to walk into this postgame show and be like, man, they just didn't, rain it on Hawaii tonight. I would be like, no, they won that game handily. They took care of business. It was never in doubt. Like, so for me, I don't know if it's exactly a number. I think it has to be over 2 touchdowns for sure. It has to be about what the spread is, which is about 17.5 as we speak, but it can't Yeah, it for me, it can't be inside of 2 touchdowns. I'm not going to be like walking away thrilled if it's like between 14 and 21 point margin of victory. But if it's like you said, if it's anything over 3 touchdowns, I'm walking away saying, Arizona handled business tonight and showed that they were the far superior football team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think the important thing, and that's why I made my keys, right, is the important thing about the making a statement part is that you've lost a lot of respect from like many fans, not just in Tucson, but across the nation.
Yeah.
When they think Arizona football and Brent Brennan, it's not a very favorable thing that they think usually, right? So I think that making a statement that things have changed, things are not the same as last year. We made a point about that, and we're putting that in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward, and we're looking into today, and that's all we're doing. I think that's very important, not only for the fan base, but for that locker room, right? We talked about buy-in last year and how buy-in was not there in ways that it needed to be to contribute to winning. The best way to get, increased buy-in this year, start with the dominant victory at home. Let the players in the locker room know that the system that they have bought in on this offseason works, and there is proof of concept, and there is reason to even buy in further if that is possible. And if you had any doubt at all, get it out of there, because they just went out and got a statement W against Hawaii. That's what I think is important above all else in this matchup is, making sure you can maintain that level of buy-in in Redline, maintain that level of buy-in in Seth Doege's new offense, maintain that level of buy-in with Josh Ogilvy's offensive line strategies. Like, you just need to have proof of concept if you're Brent Brennan to continue to coach the way that you're coaching right now. So I think making a statement is incredibly important, and I do think it starts with that 3 possessions or 3 touchdown victory margin.
Yeah, I think you could almost feel, even from game 1 last year, that like the team didn't have a lot of belief in what they were trying to do. And in that New Mexico game, obviously T-Mac goes off for that crazy number. What does he have? 300 plus yards, like the 4 touchdowns. It was a huge like burst onto the national scene type of game for T-Mac. But in that game, like I think you walked away being like, outside of T-Mac, what was really like working well? What did the defense show up? No, they gave up 30 points to New Mexico. Did the run game show up? Kind of. It was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but they didn't run the ball a whole lot. And I don't think you walked away being like, man, this ground game is going to be special. I thought after that game, I was like, man, I don't know if we're going to be that good, because this game was a very poorly coached game, and you saw it early. I think that you saw it on a guy like T-Mac's face after every game when they showed him on the broadcast, like walking off the football field. There wasn't any belief. And so I think you're right. Like, not only is the win tonight important, but the compounding belief of this team and just kind of using that momentum to snowball that belief into making you guys a better team is important, because I hate to use them as an example, but our own coaching staff has done it. Like, you saw it with ASU last year. ASU in week 3 last year against Texas State was nowhere near the same team as they were when they played Texas or when they played Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. And that's because they continued to get better and better each game, because they started to believe more and more. And I think you're not saying Arizona's making the college football playoff, but you have to find that belief somewhere, or else it's going to be telling like it was last season. And then for me, it's like, that's it for Brent Brennan. Because if this team doesn't believe again in its own coach and its own coaching staff, how could any of the fans believe in this guy either?
Yeah, no, and that's why it was my third key, right? Obviously, first 2 keys got to be football related, but that third key, I think it's really mentality related, and that's important for Arizona, and especially in a year where Sports Hero brings it up here in the chat, you don't have your all-time great leading receiver, school history, historic best in Teteroa McMillan and Nalo. You don't have that guy. I mean, he's at the game. You can't get rid of the guy. He's always in Tucson, but he's not going to be on the field playing for you, right? So how does that factor into this as well? Do you have the confidence instilled in your receivers after this game, right? Does it look different with Noah Fifita? Because Noah Fifita has not played a game without T-Mac in I don't know how long, right? So it feels like you need proof of concept, and that goes for all position rooms, especially the receiver room, who you have a lot of new faces, a lot of unproven guys in that room. How much confidence can you instill? How comfortable is Noah Fifita going to look? These are all questions that I'm excited to have answered, because I feel like they're going to be positive answers. So I'm not too scared to have them answered and find out what the answer is. But, we just have over a little less than 6 minutes until kickoff here, Damon, and I'm excited. These questions are finally going to be answered. You and I have been talking for months, talking to players, talking to coaches, talking to analysts, talking to fans, talking to whoever will listen to us about Arizona Wildcats football. And now
I walk the streets of Phoenix, and I just try to find random people who will talk to me and listen to me.
Wildcat, yeah, bear down. Let's talk football. That's Damon walking around downtown every day. But yeah, like we've been speculating all offseason as to whether or not these changes are going to actually result in victories on the field. Now, tonight, 5 minutes from now, we get to find out. And I'm pumped. I'm really pumped. Football is back. They've been back, but now Arizona Wildcat football is back. And you know football ain't really back until the Arizona Wildcats have played. You know what I mean?
That's what they say.
That is what everybody says, from Tuscaloosa to the Ohio State shoe, all the way down to like the Rose Bowl and stuff. They say, you know, Arizona hasn't played a game. So is college football really back? I don't know.
Kevin, we do have a couple super chats to hit here, and they are from both of our mothers.
Wow.
June Thomas
so sweet.
Says, Cohen Kinney, great coverage.
Facts.
I couldn't agree more,
Facts.
June.
Well
Cohen,
said.
our guy Cohen Kinney, and it's spelled just as June wrote up there on the screen.
Upset of the century, potentially.
It really, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Cohen Kinney is providing all types of phenomenal coverage out there at Arizona Stadium for the game, so please give him a follow and support his great work. He's going to be on our post-game show with us. And he's going to break down, you know, all the things that the players and coaches had to say in the post game. So stay tuned for that. But then my mom, just with a hashtag bear down, keeping it simple, BDB, bear down, baby. Kevin, let's get into some score predictions before we get out of here and commence on the year 2 of Brent Brennan era football in Tucson here. So I'll start it off. Score prediction. I'm going 38-13. Now the spread is 17.5. This is a 25-point win. It's not as big as Kevin's margin of victory, but I think that this would be a game I would be happy with. I'd walk away and I'd say the Cats took advantage of their opportunity tonight, and they really left no doubt who the better team was. Kevin?
45-17 is my score prediction. I want to see the Seth Doege offense that has been advertised to me. I want to see them put the ball down and try to score as quickly and as violently as possible and do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. I want to see 45 points put up on the board, or at least 40 plus put up on the board, and I want to see them cover the spread. Is that too much to ask? Only time will tell, but I don't think it will be. 45-17 is my score prediction for this one, Damon. Let's get some score predictions as well in the chat.
Yeah, run them up in the chat. Throw us some score predictions. What do you think Seth Doege would be happy with scoring tonight? I know that like he obviously, that guy has his barometer set up here, and I actually think that we barely mentioned Seth Doege in this pregame show, which is kind of funny based off of how much this podcast talks about him on a regular basis. But do you think that Seth Doege is walking away with 38 points scored and he's satisfied with that type of game? Or do you think that he's the type of guy where it's like, I need to score on every possession?
I think realistically, if we had him here in this room next to you, sitting
Truth
down
serum.
at the table, he's probably saying like, I would be okay with seeing improvement from all my guys and seeing us execute the game plan at a super high level. But I think if you ask him here today with no truth serum, I think he says, no, I'm not happy unless we score on every possession that we have the ball. So and that's just the way that Seth Doege is. He's a quarterback. He wants to score the football. That's just the way it is, Damon. And the Arizona Wildcats are beginning to take the field in Tucson. I have it on my stream right here in front of me. Oh, David, it's beautiful. The Navy jerseys, the white caps. Oh, it's so beautiful. It is really beautiful. Hawaii, they are flying the Hawaiian flag on the other end. Man, this is going to be incredible. We have a lot of new faces on this team. We're going to be doing an awards tracker on the postgame show. One of those awards is going to be a Transfer of the Year award, so tune in for that later as well. But, Damon, let's get the hell out of here. I'm ready to watch some Arizona Wildcats football here in a minute and a half.
I'm absolutely fired up, Kevin. And please be here for our postgame show. We're going to be 15 minutes after the clock strikes 0 there in this Arizona-Hawaii game. We'll be doing our postgame coverage, so be there for that. Stream's already made up here. You can go ahead and click that notification sign and say, I am waiting. Before we get out of here, Kevin, I did have to say one thing. That is, I'm going to look into the camera for this.
Let it
all
rip.
Off season long, this team has been catching strays from every single person that would listen, whether it's their own fans, whether it's opposition fan bases, particularly being one who, after one solid season, thinks that they can talk from like they've been running college football for decades. If you check our PHNX Sports post today saying game day is back in Tucson, you'll see it yourself. Today is the day to shut these people up. Today is the day to go out there, if you're Brent Brennan, walk in the postgame show and drop the mic and say that, I did everything that I said I was going to do this offseason, and this team is different. Seth Doege is different. Noah Fifita looks different with a real coaching staff in place. Let's see it in action today. Prove it on the field. God damn it, I'm ready, Kevin. Let's fucking go.
Let's go!
I can cuss all I want to because we're not linked to our fast remote on this one. So let's fucking go.
We're in
the Arizona Wildcats take on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Let's get a fucking win, baby. Bear down, BDB, and we'll catch you on the post-game show of the AZ Wildcats podcast. Until then, peace out. I am Damon Dog. He is Kevo Post, and we will catch you on the post-game like I said. Peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. It's game time, Wildcats!
We all silly like the mayor.